Our senior reporter, Norris Trent, has reported several times from Afghanistan under the Taliban, and she joins me here on set for more. Catherine, what more do we know about this first execution?
Thomas, this is the first execution the Taliban have publicly acknowledged taking place since they took over as the country's de facto rulers in August of 2021. And it was a public execution in a sports stadium in the centre of the Farah province, which is in the west of Afghanistan. A man, they say, was a murderer, was killed, shot 3 times by members of the alleged victim's family, with very high-ranking Taliban officials present there for that execution. The Interior Minister, very powerful man in Afghanistan, Sirajuddin Haqqani, the Foreign Minister, the Justice Minister, Supreme Court judges and their spokesman, Zabihullah Mujahid. Now, there are no pictures and no video of this execution. The Taliban allegedly took mobile phones off people, members of the public who had come to watch it. We wouldn't broadcast clearly those pictures if we had them. But it's interesting to note. Now, Taliban said that this man who was executed was convicted by 3 different layers of Sharia courts. The murder allegedly dates back to 2017. And this is something that the Taliban have said that they are bringing more security to Afghanistan without this. I mean, the UN in Afghanistan has condemned this public execution as cruel and inhuman. But it comes after the Taliban's supreme leader, Hibatullah Akhundzada, said in mid-November to judges, they ordered judges to fully enforce Islamic law, Sharia law, saying corporal punishment such as flogging, stoning, even, cutting off limbs for thieves should be enforced, and in fact was obligatory for certain crimes. So since then, we've seen the floodgates open, we've seen more corporal punishment. This is the first publicly acknowledged execution since the Taliban took power. And just incidentally, a spokesman for the Taliban has said in the face of condemnation of this first execution that the death penalty exists elsewhere, notably in the US, and that there is a lack of understanding of Islamic laws. But clearly this is their extreme interpretation of that Islamic law. This doesn't happen in many countries which consider themselves Islamic.
Catherine, if we were to widen this issue out, what more can we say about the human rights situation in Afghanistan following the Taliban's takeover, and especially how women's rights have been affected?
There was a lot of talk, wasn't there, back in the day of perhaps this being Taliban 2.0 and that they were going to have a very different approach, and perhaps some people hoping that it wouldn't be the same as when they were first in power between the years of 1996 to 2001. Well, since the supreme leader has spoken to judges about corporal punishment being not only authorised but obligatory, there have been a number of public floggings. In fact, there was one today, this Thursday, that was in the province of Parwan, just north of Kabul, where 27 people, men and women, were publicly whipped. Several towns in the town of Sharikar, which is just near, a few kilometres from where the massive US Bagram Air Base was. So you can see such a turnaround in under a year and a half. And there have been others in the Ghor province, in Logar province, all across the country. Reports and videos on social media, apparently, of these floggings, these whippings for crimes such as adultery, sex outside marriage or relationships outside marriage, or things like theft or money embezzling. And in terms of women specifically, there have been several laws brought in by the Taliban which have made life harder for women, banning them from all parks inside Kabul where they were previously allowed to go, even accompanied by male chaperones. Women can no longer travel long distances without a male chaperone, a member of their close family, so not more than 72 kilometres. They can't take flights internally or international without chaperones. In some provinces, in the province of Uruzgan, for example, in the south, women are forbidden to buy telephone SIM cards. Women, in May, there was an edict for women to cover not only their hair but their face. That's being more or less enforced depending on where you are. But of course, girls' education, teenage girls above the age of 12, above 6th grade, their schools have been closed now for well over a year, and there are no signs of that path to education opening up again.
Okay, our senior reporter, Norris Trent, thank you very much.